Om Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. I offer my salutations to Swami Vivekananda ji, whose birthday was celebrated just a few days back. We are here to discuss about the relevance of the message of Swami Vivekananda in the present scenario. I remember the great British historian A.L. Basham, what he said during the centenary of Swami Vivekananda's celebration in 1963 is so relevant today. He was asked this question: what is the relevance of Swami Vivekananda after 100 years? A.L. Basham said, it is very difficult to evaluate the importance of Swami Vivekananda in the scale of history only after 100 years. Perhaps the future generations will be able to understand his message better. And may I say, today also, I would like to say the same thing. We are too near the history to understand the full significance of the message of Swami Vivekananda. His message was for the future. But gradually we are able to understand his message is getting more and more relevant as the time passes. It's a great, wonderful thing. Normally, when a leader dies, he becomes irrelevant after a few years. But here, what we find on 4 July 1902, at the age of 39 years, Swami Vivekananda left his body in meditation and is becoming more and more relevant. Because he was a great visionary, he could visualize the problems that are going to be faced by the humanity in future, and so he gave the solutions in advance. I also recall at this moment what the Director General of UNESCO, Dr. Federico Mayer, told on 8 October 1994 during the centenary celebration of Swami Vivekananda's participation in the Parliament of World's Religions in Chicago, which was held in 1893. At that time, he was asked this question: what is the relevance of UNESCO celebrating the centenary of Swami Vivekananda's participation in the World's Parliament of Religions? And then he said, the message that he gave in the World's Parliament of Religions, the message of the harmony of religions, the message of saying goodbye to fanaticism, the message of universal brotherhood, the message of universal salvation, these are all very, very relevant today in the present context. And may I say today, also, Swami Vivekananda's message is much more relevant than it was at the time that was delivered. Particularly, we find in the present scenario, the humanity is crossing through it is the crossroad. It is at the crossroads, and a lot of people are under stress. They were already under stress, under tension, lack of peace of mind, lack of happiness and peace. In fact, happiness industry is the 5th largest industry in the world today. So many books on suicide coming out. People were already suffering from suicide, from schizophrenia, from mental tension. Added to that now is this coronavirus pandemic. Fortunately for us in India, because of the vaccines, we are hopeful that within a few months we'll come out of this problem. But many parts of the world are still facing this problem. And apart from the pandemic, the aftermath of it, that is the economic recession, the insecurity arising from economic recession, all these problems have been added into the already problems being faced by the humanity. It is at this juncture, the message of Swami Vivekananda of strength, of confidence, of the message of powerfulness, the message of the infinite power inherent in every human being, the message of divinity becomes much more relevant. The message that he delivered at the World's Parliament of Religions in Chicago is today much more relevant. At that time, he quoted from the Shveta Upanishad, Shunvantu Vishve Amritasya Putra Aye Dhamani Divyani Tastu Vedahametam Purusham Mahantam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat Tameva Viditvati Mritameti Nanya Pantha Viditenai. I have found the Ancient One who is beyond all miseries. By knowing him alone, he shall be free from all miseries. And then he told the audience there, dear sisters and brothers of America, let me call you by this sweet name, Amritasya Putra. Ye, the children of immortal bliss, holy and perfect beings, ye, divinities on earth sinners, it is a sin to call a man so. It is a standing libel on human nature. Come up, O lions, and shake off the delusion that you are sheep. Your souls immortal, spirits free, blessed and eternal. You are not matter, you are not bodies. Matter is a servant, not ye the servant of matter. That is the message of divinity that he delivered there in Chicago, which is very relevant today. We are at present today acting like the sheep, bleating. But no, Swami Vivekananda says we must roar like a lion. We must face the challenges squarely and become bold. Why? Because inside each and every human being, irrespective of caste, creed, color, religion, nationality, there is a center of consciousness called Atman, having infinite power. Esha sarveshu bhuteshu gudo atmana prakashate drishyate tvagraya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibhi. Inside every human being, irrespective of caste, creed, color, religion, nationality, there is a center of consciousness, which is called Atman, which is having infinite power. But it is hidden, it is not visible. Then what is the proof? Proof is some people have seen it. Drishyate, tvagraya buddhya, sukshmaya sukshmadarshibhi. Those who have got very, very sharp intellect, those who have got tremendous power of concentration, those who got a spatial intellect, which we call now its visual intelligence, they alone have seen that. They have realized that Atman, and that is the proof of it. And Sri Ramakrishna gives the challenge to Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda asked this question, have you seen God? He said, yes, I am seeing you. I am seeing God more intense than I am seeing you. Not only that, if you want, you can also see him. But you have to undergo spiritual practices. You have to come to the laboratory. And Swami Vivekananda had accepted that challenge. That is why he could utter that shloka from the Shveta Upanishad by the force of his realization that he had got. And that is why his message was so powerful. He was speaking from his heart. He was speaking out of his experience. So this message of divinity is very relevant. And this is what he had to deliver. And he had to remain in America and Western countries for 3.5 years more, because he was that much divine. And everywhere he gave that message of divinity. You are divine, you are divine, you are divine, you have got infinite power. Once an American lady stood up and said, Swami, you are trying to hypnotize us, always telling, you are divine, you are divine, you are divine. Swamiji immediately replied, Madam, I am not trying to hypnotize you. I am trying to dehypnotize you. Already you are hypnotized by thinking I am sinner, I am weak. No. You are divine, that is the first truth. You are divine, that is the second truth. You are divine, that is the last truth. There is no truth greater than this. And he used to tell the story of a lioness and the sheep. There was a lioness passing through a forest, and then she found the flock of sheep was going along the street. In order to cross the street, she jumped over the flock of sheep. At that time, it was pregnant. Since it jumped, it gave birth to a small lion cub which fell into the flock of sheep. And the lioness went to the other side, dropped on the other side, and became unconscious, and then gradually she died. Now, this small cub, lion cub, started weeping because it had lost its mother. So, the mother of the sheep started rearing that small cub. Now, this small lion started going along with the sheep, started eating grass like them, started playing with them, and started bleating like them. Bah, bah, bah. After a long time, another lion came in this forest, and it saw at a long distance a flock of sheep going, bah, 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 bleating. And it was surprised to find at the end there was a small lion, and it was also bleating, bah, bah. It became very much surprised. What? Bleating? He had never heard a lion bleating like this. So it came nearer. When it came nearer, the sheep became so much frightened, they started running, bah, bah, bah. And this small lion also started running, bah, bah. This big lion caught hold of it. Hey, where are you going? These are sheep, I am lion, that is why they are afraid. But you are like lion like me, why are you afraid? And the small lion said, bah, bah. I am not lion, I am sheep. The big lion said, you fool, you are a lion, still you are telling you are sheep. You are lion, you are not sheep. And the small lion again started weeping, bah, bah, bah. I am not lion, I am sheep, I am sheep, I am sheep. Now this big lion became very much annoyed, just caught hold of this small lion, dragged it near a pond, and told, look at your reflection, look at my reflection. Your face resembles that of mine or that of the sheep. Now the small lion looked at the reflection and surprisingly found same type of face. Yes, now you understand, you are lion. Now give up this bleating, roar like me. Come, you are the king of the forest now. And became the king of the forest. And Swami Vivekananda used to tell this story and tell, this is the story of all of us. We feel we are sheep, and so we are bleating what to do. This coronavirus has come, this pandemic has come, where to go, my God, what will happen tomorrow, we don't know, we may get corona, and we may or may not get the ventilator, we may not get the seat in the hospital, and what happens if I die, what happens if my mother dies, what happens if my wife dies, oh, bah, 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 we are just bleating. What will happen if I lose the job? What will happen if they reduce my salary? All these questions are coming, and we are bleating and we are weeping. Swami Vivekananda says, do not weep. Do not bleat. Why? Because you are lion. You are not sheep. Why? Because there is infinite power within each and every one of us. But at present, we are not aware of it. Why? Why we are not aware of it? Because it is hidden. The power is there. The Atman is there, but it is hidden. That is why Kabir says, Moko kaha tu dhunde bande, main to tere paas mein, khojoge to abhi milunga pal bhar ke talash mein. Already there. The source of infinite power, infinite joy, infinite bliss, infinite happiness is already there inside every human being. But at present, we are not able to see it. Why? Because it is hidden. So, it is hidden because of the screen. Remove the screen. That is the solution. Remove the screen. That is why Kabir says, घूंघट का पट खोल रे तोहे पिया मिलेंगे, कटु को वचन मत बोल रे तोहे पिया मिलेंगे. You will certainly get the beloved, but you will have to remove the screen. But how to remove the screen? Swami Vivekananda gives beautiful solution to this problem. In his book on Raj Yoga, he gives the gist of the whole of Vedanta in one paragraph. Each soul is potentially divine. The goal of human life is to manifest this divinity within by controlling nature external and internal. Do this either by work or worship or psychic control or philosophy, by one or more or all of these and be free. This is the whole of religion. Doctrines, dogmas, rituals, temple, churches, mosques are but secondary details. So he says every human being has got that infinite power. Each soul is potentially divine, potentially. And the goal of human life is to manifest this divinity. We do not have to import that divinity. It is already there. We have to just manifest it. How to manifest it? By controlling nature external and internal. How this can be done? By four methods: Raj Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Gyan Yoga and Karma Yoga. What is Raj Yoga? Raj Yoga is Ashtanga Yoga Patanjali, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. What is Yama? Yama are five: Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigra, Ahimsa. Name also five: Shauch, Santosh, Tap, Swadhyay, Ishwar Pranidhana. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan and Samadhi. And to summarize it in a simple manner, following the ethical rules and meditation, that is Raj Yoga. To make it simple. What is Bhakti Yoga? Bhakti Yoga is prayer, repeating the mantra, worshipping the Lord, above all loving the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy strength. That is loving the Lord, the infinite love. What we want is infinite love, and that can come only from infinite God. So is Bhakti Yoga, the religion of love, the path of love. Third is Gyan Yoga. Yoga means not that yoga. Normally people nowadays, the yoga, they are misusing the name. Yoga does not mean only yogasana. Most of the people now feel that yoga means yogasana. No. Yogasana is only a small part of Hatha Yoga, which is a small part of Raj Yoga, which is again part of the four yogas. Yoga means union between the individual self and the supreme self. Yoga means getting infinite knowledge, infinite happiness, infinite bliss, eternal life. That is yoga. It's not only getting little health for some years or having a little longer life. That is Hatha Yoga. But real yoga means union between the individual self and the supreme self. And when that union takes place, when that yoga culminates, what happens? Infinite happiness, infinite bliss, infinite knowledge, eternal life. And that is the goal of any yoga. And Swami Vivekananda says each and every yoga is capable of independently taking you to the reality. So the Gyan Yoga is trying to find out what is my true nature. Am I this body? No. Am I this mind? No. Am I this intellect? No. Then who am I? Chidanand Rupa Shivoham Shivo. I am that infinite Atman. That infinite Atman, Satchit Ananda. That is my nature. That is Gyan Yoga. And for the modern men, I tell it in a simpler manner, that is trying to read inspirational books, reflecting over it. And fourth is Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is converting work into worship. Each and every work can be converted into worship just by changing the attitude of mind, just by bringing the feeling of detachment, just by becoming more and more unselfish. And Swami Vivekananda says, at long last you will understand the best way is to become happy is to see that others are happy, and the best way to get peace of mind is to pray for others' peace of mind. If you cannot serve others, unselfishness is more paying in the long run. Unfortunately, people do not have the passions to practice it. It is more paying in the long run. Unfortunately, people do not have the passions to practice it. You practice it and you will find yourself. Unselfishness is more paying. The more you serve others, the more you get in terms of happiness and peace. You can experimentally verify it just by having small service. If nothing else, at least you can pray for others. What happens when you pray for others? They will get peace of mind. Even if your friend is thousands of kilometers away, if you pray for him or her, he or she will get peace of mind. But first you will get peace of mind. You can experiment it. There's a beautiful shloka which is being recited by thousands of people in India. Very well-known verse. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kashchid dukh bhag bhavet. Let all be happy, let all be healthy, let all attain goodness, let not get misery. What a beautiful prayer. And if you start praying like this, you will start getting peace of mind. This is the best way, the easiest way to get peace of mind. You can experimentally verify it. Many people have reported, yes, we started praying like this and we are getting peace of mind. But some people, they report that no, we are praying like this, but we are not getting peace of mind. I said, then there is something wrong in your praying. Many people, they pray, Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kashchid dukh bhag bhavet. Let all be happy, let all be healthy, let all attain goodness, let none get misery. And when they say like that, let all be happy, they put the brackets. Let all be happy minus my mother-in-law, let all be happy minus my wife. Don't put a bracket there. If you put a bracket there, then you will not get peace. So don't put a bracket at the time of prayer. Let all be happy, let all be healthy, let all attain goodness, let none get misery. Let us have positive thoughts. Whenever you are having any feeling of jealousy or hatred or ill feeling, that is called negative feeling. Whenever negative feeling comes, positive feeling goes. When positive feeling goes, negativity comes, automatically happiness goes away and misery comes. This is simple by law of karma. Simply by the law of, it is a sort of this principle, the eternal principle, lighthouse principle. That is why the more happiness you give to others, the more happiness you receive. The more you peace give to others, the more peace you get. The more you pray for the others' peace of mind, the more peace you get. This is a simple law of karma, the simple law of action and reaction. So start prayers, little bit of service. Immediately you get peace of mind. Immediately. You get peace, you will start immediately getting peace of mind. You can experiment it. Swami Vivekananda wrote a beautiful letter to Maharaj of Mysore. My dear prince, this life is short. The vanities of this world are transient. In this short life, they alone live who live for others. The rest are more dead than alive. You find it present today in the society, many people who are dead people, only they are bothered about their own happiness, their own self-interest, extremely selfish. And that is why they are suffering. Highly egoistic and highly selfish. You will find those who commit suicide also. They are more egoistic, though outwardly they may appear to be more humble and more having more inferiority complex, but inside they are full of ego, full of self-centeredness. Self-centeredness and ego gives rise to misery. So, positivity means more of unselfishness. And this unselfishness will give positivity. Positivity will give us immunity. Immunity will give us the power of combating all the problems of life, including coronavirus. So that is the utility of this part of Karma Yoga. So Swami Vivekananda says each and every yoga is capable of leading us to that infinite power, infinite joy, infinite happiness. But then which is better? Swami Vivekananda, that depends upon you. You take it whatever you want. But what you have taken, Swami Vivekananda said, well, I have taken all the 4 yogas simultaneously. So that is why Romarola says Swami Vivekananda rode on all the 4 horses simultaneously. So he practiced all the 4 yogas simultaneously, and he says also that for the modern man it is better to combine all the 4 yogas simultaneously. This is how the devotees of Ramakrishna Mission, how do they practice? Morning they have got some prayer, then they meditate, then they have some reading from the scriptures. Again in the evening they have got prayer, then they have meditate, then they have some reading from the scriptures. And whole day they are trying to do unselfish service. They are trying to do work, their swadharma, their duty in the spirit of worship. That is how, so morning and evening, Raj Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and whole day Karma Yoga. That is a best combination, very nice combination. If not more, at least we should try to spend minimum 5 minutes morning, evening in meditation, minimum 5 minutes morning and evening in prayer, and morning and evening 5 minutes in reading inspirational books. If we can do this and whole day, if we try to convert work into worship, immediately you will get peace of mind. So this unselfishness will bring peace. Harmony of 4 yogas, practicing these 4 yogas in daily life will bring happiness and peace in everyday life. At the same time, it will lead us to eternal happiness, eternal life, infinite joy, infinite bliss. That is a very beautiful message that Swami Vivekananda has given, practicing the 4 yogas for the modern man. All our problems we can face squarely, whatever may be the problems. We have to become bold because inside us is this Atman having infinite power. And that is why Swami Vivekananda says, if you find one word coming like a bomb from the Upanishads, it is the one word, Abhi, Abhi, Abhi. Be fearless, be fearless, be fearless. Let us not be afraid of any problem. Let us be fearless. We have got infinite power, which is already within us. Only we have to manifest it. And we will start manifesting the moment we start practicing these 4 yogas in our daily life. I pray to Swami Vivekananda that may he shower his blessings on us so that we may be able to practice these 4 yogas in our daily life and thereby get happiness and peace in everyday life and get rid of all sorts of fear, all sorts of feelings of insecurity, all sorts of negativity, and fill us, and we may be filled up with the ideas of positivity and immunity, and may we be able to face all the problems squarely. May Swamiji shower his blessings on all of us. Thank you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tassat.
আমাদের ইউটিউব চ্যানেলটি সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন আরও ভিডিওস পেতে।